this is Beth West. I'm the editorial director of the BTN group, and I am so happy to be here on BTN TV at the Business Travel Show with Kieran, Ingham-Burroughes. Kieran is with JTB, and we're going to be talking a little bit about his experience at the show. Oh my goodness, I'm getting on in the day, Kieran, with some sustainability topics, and also a topic that's near and dear to my heart right now, which is small and mid-sized business and managing travel for that particular segment of the marketplace. I think it's a really a fascinating topic right now, and I want to dig into it with our JTB executive because it's one of the sweet spots of his client base. So why don't we start out with how the show has been going for you, Kieran?
It's actually been a really good show this year.
Great.
I've been in the industry now for about 23 years. I've been coming to the Business Travel Show for a large percentage of that, and it's always been a fantastic show, and it's great to see it back. And this year has been brilliant. I like the fact that it's been a lot more guided this year as well with the people that are attending the show.
Yeah.
We found it absolutely fantastic with regards to the number of meetings we've had and prospects we're talking to. And there's a lot, the way travel's changed over the last 2 years, there's a lot of new things to talk about, which is really good. Like I say, sustainability, duty of care, all the new procedures and documentation and everything you need has changed so much, dynamic pricing, everything. So it's great to be talking about it again, and also highlighting, and getting our name out there.
Yeah. So JTB has been a really interesting company for me, and it's actually a company I go to a lot when I want to talk about the small and mid-sized business travel function inside of the organization. So that's one of the sweet spots of your client base. And as the client development manager, what are those companies coming to you asking for? Are you getting new inquiries because of the complexity of business travel right now? Are you optimizing, deepening relationships with old clients or existing clients, I should say?
Yeah.
What is that mix like, and how's the activity with the small and mid-sized segment right now?
Yeah, no, it's very good. So throughout the COVID period, myself, my colleagues team were actually brought into the business to stay in touch with our client base, with our customers, just to, let them know what's happening within the industry, or not happening, keeping them up to date, putting measures in place moving forward for when travel does start. And being a global TMC that specialises in the SME market, we're actually quite unique because there's not many others, if any, that actually deal with that SME market on a global level. So we've attracted quite a bit of interest this year at the Business Travel Show because of that market that we fall very nicely into. We've got some very big partnerships out there as well with all our technology suppliers. But the way travel, we see it as going, it varies across the globe as well. So we saw America pick up quite quickly with the domestic travel. So our American market was picked up before anything else. And then Europe was a bit slower off the mark, and we saw February really take off.
Yeah.
No pun intended, but it really did hit the ground running, which has been fantastic. Have we seen a change in travel styles and stuff? Yes, there has been a big change. There's the actual booking process. We found the horizon's actually been, the gap's closing, so people were booking travel last minute, where historically they were booking well in advance. The reason being that they were unsure. Our meeting's going to go ahead. Am I going to be tested negative, positive, and all that jazz? So it made it, the prices increase and all those sort of things for these customers. But now we're getting further into it, sort of the travel sort of leveling out a bit now. It's people are, and the booking horizons are getting a bit wider. One of the things we have seen an increase in as well, more in the way of, I'd say, not group travelers but groups to getting together, like sales departments, they've not met for years, sales departments meeting, HR departments meeting. So that's been a big part over the last few months is those groups getting together.
Internally, the internal groups.
Groups, okay. And one of the KPIs we're looking at with a lot of our customers now is it's a bit of a bizarre one working for a TMC. We want the business to come to us, but it's also looking at how they can avoid travel, because obviously we'll come on to sustainability, but the best way to look at sustainability in that is to reduce travel down and, to not travel at all. So we actually actively look at cost avoidance and trip avoidance. Some of the measures that we're putting in place with some of our customers are to look at trip purpose. We have the world of Teams out there now, and it's to really look at, does that internal meeting really need to happen? You meet, as a group of you, 4 or 5 of you, have a meeting and come home. Does it really need to happen? So it's working with the customer to guide and support them with all that. But yeah, there's a whole range of things in travel that's changed, looking at more rail trips as well.
So are you finding in the SME market that they really are looking at that purposeful travel strategy, and are they putting trip justifications, approvals into their workflows to make sure they're keeping those checks and balances happening?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with regards to approvals, we're finding that most customers steer away from approvals and approval processes, because it does end up slowing down the process and the availability and pricing of seats. What we are finding is with the reporting side and the use of an account manager, looking at strategic views on how we can manage and look at their travel. Traveller behaviour is the biggest cost to any company. And if you can get the traveller behaviour right, that's the way to go with it. So even down to, the traveller behaviour, once we start talking about sustainability, is, are they choosing the most sustainable? And if we talk about cost, are they choosing the most cost-effective flights? There's all those sort of things to look at. And do your executives really need to be travelling in business class, spending £9,000 on one ticket? There's all these sort of things to help and support the business moving forward. And the SME market is that market which, really does need that support as well, because, some of the areas, they don't have dedicated travel managers. They have people dealing, within the offices, will deal with a procurement department or a finance department who aren't specialists in travel. So that's where we step in and we support that part of it as well.
It's an interesting conversation that I've had, and we're going to get to the sustainability in one second, but the commercial models that are sort of actively in play in the TMC space right now. The transaction model has been really the ascendant model for a long time. I know with JTB, you're pretty, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I think with JTB, you're pretty strong on that management fee model, and that's something that you really support with a lot of your SME clients. You want to tell me a little bit about that and why it's effective? Yeah,
absolutely. So we do have, we work on both models.
Of course, I know.
We work on both models. So we do have a transaction fee model in place, but we do also work on the annual fee model as well. The reason behind that is it gives a lot more openness and transparency. So we can openly talk with our customers about the costs involved around that, but also as well, it's good for the customers that we work with, for their finance departments, to really plan how much travel is going to cost throughout that year on a transaction fee basis, not a flight basis, not a cost basis there. But when we talk about the actual services, the fee there, they know it's going to cost me X amount this year to have this service for all of my customers, for all of my travellers, whether they call the out of hours team how many times, whether they book so much online. It's that standard that they know. Travel fees as well, also historically, of course, friction between travellers, travel bookers, and the finance departments as well, because why would I book that through my TMC when I can book it online and don't get charged a fee for it? Okay, so that part of it as well helps reduce down the friction internally because of that reason. In particular as well, when you're talking about the out of hours service, the live services, if you've got a traveller stuck overseas, I'm going to be spending X amount of money here calling the out of hours service because we get charged a fee for it. So one of the reasons we look at this annual fee as well, there are no charges for it. So it's a bit of a safety net as well for the travellers to be able to say, do you know what, this isn't going to cost me anything. I'm going to call them because I need the support now. And with duty of care being a huge part of things as well, it helps with businesses to achieve those duty of care objectives.
And with a complex environment right now, it feels like
Oh, absolutely.
It's a very balanced, it seems to me.
Well, it is as well, and also as well when you look at, I mean, in the present day at the moment, you've got a lot of number of flights being reissued, cancelled, delays going on. So part of that again, you look through these traditional models of you being charged for a reissue, you're being charged for this, you're being so your costs end up building up.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at the annual fee model, you get a preferred team that work with you, and your costs are that one level for the whole year. Yep.
So it's an interesting sort of question to ask, as a company right now, really which is the most value. Yep. So I do want to get to sustainability, and I know we're running out of time. It's been a huge topic at the Business Travel Show this year. How is JTB participating in that? And you mentioned you're really working with your clients on trip avoidance. How are you doing that?
Yeah, so I mean that's a very good point. So trip avoidance is one of the areas. So we are looking at monitoring trip purpose. So trip purpose is a really key one to look at how we can reduce down their travel. And it's one of those things where it's not an overnight thing. So it'll be working on traveller behaviour, working on travel policies to actually implement them for them to actually get to the goals where we need to avoid trips altogether. But the sustainability part is something we're really working on quite heavily within JTB, and I'm part of the sustainability team moving forward. We're actively talking to our customers now to find out what they want, because you've got many different customers out there at the minute with a lot of different objectives. Different objectives with regards to sustainability. Is it a priority at the minute? Yes. Is it priority? No. Okay, and that is where we're at the moment with that part. But you've also got, within that set of people who want to look at sustainability, you've also got those sets that they want to know about it, but it's not, it's not overly important. You've then got that set that want it reported on because they need to send it to their head office to get a view of it. You've then got the next step who want to report on it and they really need to action it. They really want to, offset, or they want to do something different with it to make a difference. So talking to many companies now, it is about as well, they have goals to achieve. So they have goals. They need to be carbon neutral by whatever date of whenever, 2030, 2050. So it's our job at JTB to help them achieve that goal. And helping achieve that goal is again, reporting, but with the right metrics. Reporting to see, year on year, what are the differences? Is your carbon footprint actually being reduced? And like I say, that trip avoidance part. So the best way to not to emit emissions is not to travel. So, the likes of those internal meetings, send a Teams invite out. And those sort of things, so you can actually get to meet those people. Everybody is fully used to using those systems now, so that's a good way to start as well.
Great. Well, listen, there's a lot to cover in the sustainability topic, but I know that you guys are working on the spectrum of demand that's coming towards you. Well, that is going to wrap us up for today. I really appreciate you speaking with me about the SME market. It's a really, I think, important and dynamic category right now. Absolutely. And we'll talk more later.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of our audience today. Thank you to our attendees at the Business Travel Show. And we will be back in just a few minutes. We will be revealing the Innovate Face-Off winner. So stay tuned for that. Bye-bye.